Okay, good afternoon guys. It is Friday and I've had my new welder now for a little bit, my Pop.Smoke.Automotive 216. I just thought I'd show you a set video of how to actually set up a new welder, how to do the wire feed and everything like that. Just because it's so easy, and once you've done it once right, you never have to touch the machine again. So yeah, keep tuned. Okay guys, so we've taken the side door off this Pop.Smoke and we've got the central spindle, the drive wheels and the drive motor, the tensioner, and this is where the wire goes out along here. You might just be able to see that. I'll do a zoom in shot later. And the nice thing about the Pop.Smoke actually is that it comes with just this little adapter, which means you can use your 5 kilogram rolls in this welder also. Now, this is how I got taught to set up a MIG welder when I was getting my qualification, and it's pretty easy. It means you should never have to open up the machine again once it's set right, and it's really easy. So I've got a 15 kilogram roll here, so that pops on the spindle, and on the back wall there's just a little tab which fits into this tiny little hole here. So just push it on, line all that up, and then you want to obviously put the tightening nut down. Now, we'll come tighten this in a bit later, but what we need to do eventually is get this into a position where once you stop the feed of the wire, this does not continue to spin. This should always stop dead as soon as you stop the wire feed. Okay, so this is 0.8 wire, and we're going to start by threading it through the guide over here. All the tensioners are open. Some come with this system, some come with other systems, but they all work on the same principle of 2 wheels, or sometimes you'll get 4 wheels. Just slide it in there. Now, you want to look at the bottom guide wheel, because the bottom guide wheel has grooves in it, which are designed for different sized wires. And you want to make sure that, there you go, might be able to see that. There you go. The larger one of those grooves is for 0.8, and so you need to make sure that is in the line of the wire. It's really simple when you actually look at your machine how it all goes together, and you just do that down tight. So then you start to feed your wire through, rolling it off, pop it through into the hole. It's gone from being a bit fiddly sometimes, just this little bit. There we go, it's in. And then just keep feeding it until it comes out of here. You can just see it coming out the Euro connection there, just here. Now that we're through, you'll notice that I don't actually have my torch on here at the moment, and the way I was taught to do it was to make sure everything is through and clean, and then add on the torch afterwards. Now what we'll do is just close the tensioner down, so that means pulling this wheel down, pushing that over the top, and that will now hold in there nicely without any issue. And just make sure that it is all in line, make sure that your wire's in the groove, and so on. Right, so now that wire's not going to ping anywhere. So now what we need to do is put the Euro connection on. Okay, so this is the Euro connection, this is the male end. Have a quick look around, check it's clear of everything. Got your wire feed and your gases and your electric connectors all there. And what you now want to do is check down in here that the liner's in there. If you take that off, you'll see there's a nylon liner in there. You shouldn't even need to take that off unless sometimes you're changing the type of wire you're actually using. So if you're going to do MIG brazing or aluminium welding, you'll need to change the liner. So we put the wire into this long one here, and you just push it in there. It's not very difficult to do. Line up all the holes, and it will seat in there nicely. You'll know when it's in because it seats in, and then we just twist it on until it's tight. Now the wire's in this section. Now we need to get it up to the head. Okay, so we're now going to get the wire to come out the end. And there we go, you can see it there. Now we're missing the tip at the moment, just so we can clearly see what's going on and stuff doesn't get caught. Sometimes the wire isn't cut quite that nice at the end and you can get stuck going in here. So by taking it off, you just eliminate that issue. Now you'll see here, you can see the silver coil, and that's part of the liner that's in this part of the torch. That's been pushed up, and that's because the whole torch line is all coiled up. So to get rid of that, we just need to give it a bit of a shake and a straighten out, and then we'll screw in the tip. Okay, so that got straightened out. That made me have the ability to put this in, put it there, tighten it up. Like so, till it's firm. And that's all good. Okay, now let's put the cone on. Right, so now how do we set this up? So we want this to stop immediately when this stops, and the way to be able to set that up properly is get a load of wire out, keep jumping it, and actually that tension's pretty fine. If I went a bit looser, it's still alright. It's because it's a 15 kilogram roll. I remember with the 5 kilogram rolls they spin a lot easier, but you want to make sure that's nice and tight, so when you start clicking away, it stops. So always look out for that, always check that, and check that's tight enough. Now your tensioner. This is really important. So you want to make sure that this is always pushing, and nothing that you do to this wire now can stop it. I never want this machine to stall. So if I take this right loose, so it's really loose now on the tensioner, and I hold the wire, I can stall it. I'm pressing the button, but it can't feed through. Now that's not right. What I want is to be able to hold onto the wire and to not be able to stall the machine. This wire should push me away and come out. So I'll tighten that up. I know on my machine it's just above 3, it's about 3.5 on this one. It'll be different on yours. If I hold this wire now, it needs to be a bit tighter. It was getting there, but a bit tighter. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go again, so you can see that. I can't stop that now. That is now always coming out. So that's where you want to be. That's how you set up the tensioner. It's not difficult, but it's vitally important. So now that's all set up. The tensioner is good. I can't stop it. This isn't spinning constantly. That might change once it gets a bit lighter. But it shouldn't do. That tension is good. If you've got smaller rolls, you need to be more careful of that and set your machine up accordingly. The tip is good, and we're all good in here. So there's nothing left to do but start welding and never open this thing again. And then we come on to the gas. Now in here we have a Trimix, and I've used Hobby Weld. This is a medium-sized bottle, and it costs about, the original deposit is about 75 or 100 quid, something like that, and every time you take it back to get refilled, it's £45. Now the way to set these up, your regulators and so on, is you've got your left one, which is what is in the bottle. Now this is only a guide. It can say 0 and there's still stuff in it. But you don't know how long that stuff's going to last. It could last a few days, it could last 10 minutes, you don't know. So I think that for myself, if it's at 10, I don't want to get stuck. So if it's at 0, I don't want to get stuck with no gas at all. So I just get it filled up at that point. Then you've got your flow meter. Now this should always be set to look at the litres per minute. So that's the outer ring. And it should be between 10 and 15. Always between 10 and 15, if you can see that. Always between 10 and 15. I set it for 12, but if any gas welding at all, where you're using a separate gas component as the shield, it should always be between 10 and 15 litres per minute. Always go for that. So put it at 12 and you'll never have any issues. Remember, if you're welding outside, you'll need to shield it from wind, because the gas will blow away potentially in windy conditions. Potentially at that point you need to either shield it or use gasless welding types where you've got the flux core and things like that. But yeah, remember always between 10 and 15, so go for 12, and you should never have any problems with the wrong amount of gas. Okay guys, that was me looking at how I set up my MIG welder and how I got taught to do it at my welding qualifications college. So if you have more questions on it, do let me know. I know it's a quick run through. I'll do a bigger video of the actual Pop.Smoke. Fantastic machine, I've loved it. I used to have a crappy little small thing, and so to go to something that's pro, semi-pro, has been a real game changer, and it's well worth the money. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Yeah, let me know. Bye.